Good morning from Columbus, Ohio. And that is some of Seth's artwork. Here's his drafting table, some of the ideas he's been working on. Character sketches. We're about to take Joe outside. Give himself a little bit of a walk. Alright, Squirt, go play. You're not used to roughage like this. You actually have a little bit of a field to go run around in. Seth was laughing last night when we got in here. He points over this direction, he goes, "Look man, cemetery adjacent." Oh, that is hilarious. Seth was just showing me this Muppet that he made of Teddy Roosevelt and made the clothes and everything. Isn't that hilarious? So this is kind of a trip. This is Seth's son, Damien, and the last time that I saw Seth's kids, like every time Seth and I meet up, it's always kind of like closer to where I live in Troy. But the last time I saw Damien, he was about 1 year old. They were living in St. Louis and I went and visited, and he walked up to me and barfed in my shoe. And now he's a 14-year-old. And that's Eowyn. She was about, I would say 3. She was my buddy when I was there visiting her. And I haven't seen him yet, so I'll get to see them today. Well, we've started our journey into Seth's town. We're going to go explore the town, and I got to see a little bit of it last night when it was dark. It's got a real, how I would describe Marceline, Missouri feel to it. And right here you can already see a horse hitching post. Now this is kind of what I'm talking about. I noticed last night a lot of the houses in this area have historical plaques, and Seth was telling me a lot of them are 100, almost 200 years old. The churches are 200 years old. Here's an old Victorian style house. Now when I told my friend Adam that I was in this town, he said, it's much like the town in Gilmore Girls, but Seth and I looked at each other and we're like, neither one of us have seen that show, so we didn't know. And then I said, yeah, well, Adam's married, so. Now this old house is actually a operating business, and you can see over here on the sign there's Footloose Vintage, Barb's World, Taco Dan's. Now this is what I'm talking about. Look at this town. Right across the street I can see Moe's Original Barbecue, Village Coffee, Wits Frozen Custard. I mean, it just has that, what I consider that old Main Street America feel to it. Christmas trees lining the entire street. At night they were all lit up. So check this out. This is actually the Grandville History Museum, but it has a little bit more of a story than that. Right here, this sign actually says that this used to be the Bank of the Alexandrian Society, which you're like, so what? It's a bank, but one of the interesting things about it is that it's a bank that actually printed its own currency. And they said this went all the way back to 1817 and it failed. And ever since it's been like a post office, it's been obviously a museum, it's been a few different things, and in a railway depot even. Pretty interesting history. And pretty much on all 4 corners of this entryway into town you have churches. And here we go, some more history. So I actually have to read this one to you. This one was just so interesting. I was like, I can't even sum it up. It says, founding of the Granville Licking Company. In 1804, a group of neighbors in Granville, Massachusetts and Granby, Connecticut formed the Licking Company for the purpose of moving to new lands in Ohio. Inspired and informed by the settlements of Worthington in 1803, the company purchased 29,000 acres in the U.S. military district. Advanced parties surveyed and mapped a site, established a mill, and planted grain. The company planned a public square, a school, library, quarry, burying ground, and property for the support of the churches. So in 1805, 150 immigrants with oxen pulled wagons showed up and established this town. And it says, company members selected the Granville lots in an auction that was described as peaceable and honest. I believe that. I was just telling Seth, I love that they have so much of their history documented. I don't have to do any looking up, I don't know anything about it, and I can just come here the way most cities should be, and you can just learn about the city as you walk around. Take a look at this comfy little neighborhood, this little town. And Seth was actually telling me this is kind of, for the area, this is the weekend getaway kind of city that people come to. And this church has been around since 1884. Now I asked Seth, I said, is this a synagogue? What is this? Because of the Star of David? And he said, no, I don't have an answer for you on that one. Seth was just showing me that right here on the side of this part of the church and like kind of the school part of it, some of the students have painted the windows, and actually his son painted that nativity scene right there in the center. Here you can see a lot of them. Seth actually knows pretty much all the people that work or teach here, but we were just looking at all the little paintings all the kids did. And this Grinch right here, Seth's daughter Awen actually painted. And Seth did this one, the Calvin and Hobbes. Real family event here. So these people actually wanted to meet Ja. They asked us to come in.
Hey, oh, there you are. Now you get to come say hi. His name?
Now, like I said, you know you're in Columbus when you see Donato's, and there's our Donato's for Granville. I gotta say, I do love the fact that there's so many Christmas trees lining up and down this street. Like I said, when we came in last night, the whole street was lit up. I'll show you guys tonight. We'll get a little bit of night footage when we leave Adam's house. Oh yeah, there's Wits. We're gonna go there a little bit later, I think. This is awesome. Seth was telling me that a lot of these Victorian homes, like I've shown you, they kind of turn them all into businesses, but he said they also have like a candlelight Christmas walk that happens. And he said people are just walking around with candles and cocoa, walking through these streets at night. Nice. Well, right here, we just walked up to this place. It's called the Granville Inn, and Seth was telling me they have a lot of weddings here. I looked at it and I said, oh my God, I can totally understand why. It looks like an old castle. Look at that. That literally looks like the kind of stuff I was seeing in Belgium not too long ago. And then you go a little bit past it, and we'll check that place out too, but look at that. There's actually a college here right in Granville. It's called Denison, and that house that I was showing you off to the side, that's actually their college townhouse. Look at that. You can probably tell I had to put Ja's winter jacket on him. So check this out. First off, you start at this awesome gate right here in front of this house, and then if you take this little horseshoe walkway, you have a horse hitching post right here in front of the Christmas tree. And then, as Seth said, one of the oldest inns in town. This one's 1812, the Buxton Inn. Let's go look at it. Did you see their sign as a Cheshire Cat? I think that's supposed to be a Cheshire Cat. Man, that place is great. Look at that. Beautiful. And Seth was just telling me this house that we're in front of, because I wanted to see this nativity scene. He said the church that we were just in that was saying hi to Ja, they actually own this. I just asked Seth what this was. He didn't seem to know. If anybody knows what this is, I don't know. It looks like a seat, but then there's a place for a hook or something right there, so I don't know what that is. Now this is actually a museum here. It's called the Robbins Hunter Museum. And they have a little, another one of those plaque things right there. And the story that it tells, it says this was actually the home to many of the founders that I discussed when we very first started walking around the town. It also, they said after that, it became a sorority house for a couple of the local college sororities for Denison. And now it's a museum dedicated to history of the 19th century. And see if you see on there, it says it was the house for the Spellman, and they were some of the original founders of this county, Licking County. And here's the local library with this great statue of these two kids reading a book with their dog. And it says that there's a train exhibit inside, but I don't know if we'll go see that. If you're wondering what they're reading, it just says, Once Upon a Time. So probably Treasure Island. And this is called the Victoria Wood Huff Clock Tower. It says that she was a newspaper publisher, stockbroker, and advocate for women's suffrage. I had no idea Seth lived in such a cool historic town like this. I always just thought it was like out in the middle of nowhere. I didn't realize it actually was really interesting. I've been missing out. Now this is just one of, but all over town you'll see the houses and they have those what look like historical monument plaques because they are. And this is called the Bancroft House and it says National Register of Historic Places. It was a house built in 1825, so pretty much the whole history of this town goes back to 1810s and 20s. Now there's another one of those houses and it looks pretty similar to the last one because this is the Gerald Bancroft House. The last one was the Bancroft House also, so must have been the brother. Here's their local mom and pop pizzery, the Elms Pizza Parlor. And then of course small town America, Susie Sunshine Sweets. So if you want to see more of this city, Seth was telling me that not too long ago, like within the last year, they actually filmed a Hayden Christensen and Bruce Willis movie, and they used Bruce Willis's house was here in Granville, and so they shot quite a bit of the movie actually in this town. And Seth actually said they gave him a hat when they were here. And there's an old cereal called Crimson Ghost. Seth turned me onto that years ago. It's actually pretty hilarious. If you can ever find it, watch it. That's what the Crimson Ghost is right there, that guy in the red. Well, Seth and I ditched Jaw, and we're gonna go over here to Wits Frozen Custard because Seth said that this is the last day that it's gonna be open, so gotta experience it for the season. I like that mural, I love that. So I'm actually trying the Buckeye Madness Custard. If you guys aren't from Ohio, you don't know what the Buckeye is, but my mom makes them and you'll see them in a few days. Well, I got my dessert first, which I'm pretty cool with. You mind if I go ahead and... This is so old school, look at that. If you want coffee, you just pay for it right there. Well, it looks like Santa's been here. Check this place out. We just saw this fried chicken sign, and then in the window they have a trophy with like a chicken wing on it. All right, we're heading out to visit my buddy Adam. It's been a long time since I've seen Adam. And Adam is now a father as of the last couple of months, so I'm gonna be meeting his daughter Ada. Every day is an Earth Day to a farmer. And as you can tell, nobody on the road compared to California. So Seth and I just got to Adam's house and we're like, is this his house? We can't find an address. And then I look in this car window and there's a drum and I go, yep, that's his house. There he is.
All right, how are you?
I'm very well.
That's constantly being used. I could be doing the same thing. Yeah, but whereas
Adam was just giving me a tip on where I should go on one of my future trips, which is Portugal, Portos, Portugal. Which is funny because I was telling him that somebody in one of the hostels recommended that to me as well.
especially if you're 5'7", short, man with black hair and hairy. Portugal is wonderful.
directions. Who knows, man?
And we went to Umeå, Sweden, you know, which is like 500 miles from the Arctic Circle, and I just stuck out like.
Well, I fit in really well in Sweden,
good
so
there.
yeah, I loved it.
And then Dusty, our sound guy, remember?
Yeah, Dusty.
He walked in, he's like, "Welcome home, here we go." And they were like, we had just come from Spain, so Beth and I were all tan and like very dark. Come to the lake.
They got me red pop.
Red Pops.
Yeah, they got me red pop since I haven't had it forever. There's the Barks and the Big Red. I love it. Well, check this out, guys. We're out and about, and there's this really, really incredible Christmas display here, and I'm gonna try and walk along the side of the road and show you a little bit of it if I can. Get close enough without hitting by a car. This is kind of a busy street out here. You can see the angel and the deer and everything over there. And I'll walk us a little closer. I didn't bring my night camera, so it'll be a little darker than usual. Oh yeah, now look at that. That's a driveway. That's the whole driveway with a whole nativity scene up front. There's a Santa Claus over here. Reindeer over there. It looks great. And you can see the trees go all the way down the street.